What was hidden from view were the anxieties I was facing. Jinger Duggar Zulo's method for separating faith from fear. Jinger Duggar Zulo grew raised in a television camera-filled environment. Zulo was on the reality TV series 19 Kids and Counting on TLC for 17 years. All those years people saw me grow up on TV, my life seemed to be totally fine, stated Zulo. In a way, I did have a wonderful upbringing. In terms of relationships, I had a great upbringing. My parents gave up a great deal for me. Jinger was having difficulties, though, behind the scenes. What people failed to notice were the anxieties and fears I was battling, as well as my belief that God was not a good source of guidance. God, Jinger clarified, that came from a teacher that I followed named Bill Gothard. It was reported that Gothard was a man who led a cult and exploited his religious position to seduce young ladies. He was never found guilty. Bill Gothard's and the area's religion, I suppose, was predicated on control, superstition, and the use of fear. I would therefore see everything via that perspective, Jinger remarked. I thought God was either pleased with me or not, based on my performance. I felt as though I had no idea what God expected of me. Trying to figure out what I was supposed to do for all those years of my life was a scary feeling. I was really unsure. Within her in her early 20s, Jinger's understanding of Gothard's teaching started to shift after she was forced to reevaluate her ideas by a new family member, her brother-in-law, who had not grown up in the same close-knit conservative community as the Duggars. Although he was devoted to the Bible, he didn't think many of the things Jinger had always taken for granted were accurate. His influence helped Jinger see that her life was based on regulations rather than God's word, as did the assistance of Jeremy Zulo, her future husband. It took me so many years of walking through those teachings to figure out I want to move away from this because I see it's not based in the Bible, and it's a distorted view of who God actually is. Jinger discusses in her writing stated in Becoming Free Indeed, My Story of Untangling Faith from Fear, her recently released book. This book has been the hardest thing I have ever written. The process has worn me out emotionally far more than I anticipated. I've occasionally questioned whether I should write it at all, but I'm aware that it's required. Jinger gives a moving account of how she was able to separate her faith from her fear on Connections Today.